Hi, it's Susan. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me. A little while ago, I did a really short video on how you could color paper clips using your Sharpie markers. And my favorites are the Sharpie brush pens. So I just went ahead and had a little play with some other things that you could color with them, and I wanted to show them to you. We had talked about, I think in the video, staples, or maybe in the comments, staples. So that works really well. This is just a regular safety pin, silver safety pin, and that colored really nicely. I'm really happy with that. Some of these things you might find easier to color after you've already put them in your project. So I had an eyelet and I tried to color it on its own, but I didn't really have a really good setup for where to, hold it down. But you could, once you had it put in your tag or something, then you could certainly go over it with a paper clip, and that's great. And so that worked really nicely on a brass one, so the brass and silver ones. I had, these are some huge keychain rings you might be using for closures. Those covered really nicely. This was a plastic curtain ring. I found them in, my mother-in-law gave me a big bag of old sewing things from her mom, and I've been using these for some tassel holders and some other, for closures. So the white plastic covers really nicely. This was also in that bag for my mother-in-law. These were, I think, for making your own buttons. So I had one that was brass and one that was silver. I have a bunch of these, and those do color nicely too. And of course you could also, because they're nice and flat, you could decoupage a napkin over them, but that colored nicely. This was a charm, star charm, and I really, sometimes I'll see a charm that I like, or it'll come in some thrift store stuff, and it's this gold color, and it just doesn't work with my thing, so I really like that I could put the brown Sharpie over it. Buttons worked best for me on white. Kind of depends on, what you're trying to achieve with them. I mean, of course, you can decoupage over your buttons too, but it worked really nice coloring a button. Bulb pins. I have a bunch in silver and gold, so I really like that I'm able to color those. Brads. I have a bunch of these, these are the cheaper ones to buy. They're long, and sometimes you have to cut them off depending on what you're using them for, but they color very nicely. These little, plastic rings I've been using for small tassel holders, and these my mom had saved for me. They came from an electric toothbrush. I guess you would mark who had what color toothbrush, and I was able to color those with my markers, so that works out nicely. These are the other little rings that I use now for making tassels, so I have them in both silver and gold in the different sizes, and they colored very nicely. I had some little bulldog clips. These particular ones, these might have been a cheap version that came from China. They might have a little bit of a plastic coating over them, so it did take a little bit more work to get them covered, but I was able to get them covered. And then little paper clips. They're cute in the natural, but sometimes you want a color to match, and now they just look like they're nicely stained wood. So there you have it. More things you can color with your Sharpie markers to add a customized look to your project. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye for now.